Bridget, I watched you making a statement in the House of Commons in response to the Supreme Court ruling that women are biologically women. Something that Keir Starmer and yourself have said that you are grateful for the clarity on. I'm not sure what clarity you needed. I did not need any clarity. But I'm glad that you have accepted the ruling and that the clarity is there that women that are born women are women. But I bring you onto your statement that you made in the Commons, where you said, "This is a government that will support the rights of all people with protected characteristics now and always. This is a government that will support the rights of our most vulnerable now and always. And on that, Madam Deputy Speaker, there is no change to announce. Dignity and respect for all now and always." I remind you, Bridget, that this is a government that is being taken to court by a group of children who feel that their protected characteristics have been violated by this government right now. I remind you that this is a group of children taking Rachel Reeves to court because of her VAT on education policy, which they feel violates their human rights, their protected characteristics. I remind you that care homes, hospices, nurseries and schools are all launching legal action against this government where they feel that they are having their rights, their protected rights, violated by this government. I remind you that these groups of people are made up of the most vulnerable groups of people in society. We are talking about childcare, education, care for the elderly, and end-of-life care. All of these vulnerable groups are taking the government to court because of the impositions that Rachel Reeves has imposed on their financial sustainability. I'm talking about a group of women in the nursery care sector, in the early years sector, childminders, those that work with children in nurseries, those that run nurseries, a female-dominated landscape who are now unable to carry out their work and unable to have a future for their businesses because of the National Insurance and Employment Contribution hikes that Rachel Reeves has imposed. The same in care homes, the same in hospices. You couldn't find a more vulnerable group of people in society that this government is directly, negatively targeting. So I would think very carefully when you make statements like that, very carefully about who you are making them to. I would urge you to think carefully about who's standing in their kitchen, hearing the 6 o'clock news, listening to that, who's on their commute home from work, who's going to see an elderly relative in a care home, who is going to visit a dying friend or relative in a hospice, who is having their child pulled out of an education that suits them because they can no longer afford the fees. I could go on, but I think you need to take some time to reflect about that statement, because I would say that is in direct contravention to what the government is actually doing. I have never seen a government who seems to be more hell-bent in causing direct harm to the most vulnerable groups in society. So, Bridget, tonight I would reflect on that, and I would reflect hard.